On day 6, we'll leave Rapid City, go through Sturgis, over to Deadwood, and then through Spearfish Canyon Drive before visiting Devil's Tower National Monument and then driving back to Rapid City for the night. As we leave Rapid City, it's raining very heavily and will continue to rain most of the day, sometime lighter than others. Soon we're in Sturgis, where they have the big motorcycle rally. Don't see many motorcyclists today in this kind of rain and cold weather. After driving through Sturgis, we head to Deadwood, South Dakota to look there a while. Soon we're entering Deadwood, and we're going to be driving down the main street. We had hoped to take a tour of the city on one of their buses, but they closed them all down because of the rain and the lateness in the tourist season. After driving down Main Street, we park and we start to explore on foot. We look at a glass factory, and we look at various other buildings. We're going to be visiting the Adams Museum and looking there for a few minutes, try and find out more about the history of this area. Upstairs they have a two-headed calf and other exhibits that we can look at. There are two main people who are associated with Deadwood that we think of as being famous. James Butler, Wild Bill Hickok, who died here August the 2nd, 1876, and Martha Canaryar, Calamity Jane. She didn't die here, but she is buried here and lived here for a long time. In the museum, we can see what the Homestake gold mine looked like here and what happened after the fire that destroyed much of Deadwood, and then it being rebuilt as it is today in a large way. There are many different displays in the museum of models of various kinds. It's a pretty eclectic display with a lot of minerals like this gold nugget that was found here. And now it's time to go looking around town. In 1876, downtown looked like this, and now it looks like this. Here's Saloon 10, where Wild Bill Hickok was murdered, shot in the back. And then as we turn around over here, this is going to be the place where the man who shot him was captured just across the street, and he was later hung. Many of these old storefronts have casinos inside them. It's a big gambling area. And here's an old man. Could that be the photographer for Deborah the Explorer? And now in the rain and wind, we head up to the cemetery. It's Mount Moriah Cemetery. And we're going to visit here to see the graves of Wild Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane. Those graves are located in this area of the cemetery. And now let's walk on up the hill and inside. Up there is where Wild Bill and Calamity Jane are buried. Wild Bill has a bust of him on the tombstone, and Calamity Jane has a vase on hers. And they're both buried side by side. And now it's time to head out of Deadwood. We're going to be heading over to Spearfish Canyon and drive through it. On the way, we're going to look at a statue in President's Park. Tomorrow we'll be over there at Mount Rushmore, which is just a little ways from here. And now we arrive at Savoy, which is kind of a crossroads here at Spearfish Canyon. We came in from this way, and we're going to go look at the southern part first, and then we're going to go eat at Savoy, and then go explore the northern part all the way up to Spearfish City. We're going to be heading into Spearfish Canyon, and this is the area where the movie Dances with Wolves was filmed. Soon we arrive at the parking area for Rough Lock Falls, and we're going to look around here some. We see the Spearfish River. It's really clear. You can see the rainbow trout down in it. And then we walk alongside the river on a trail to go to Rough Lock Falls and see it, and walk over its bridge. It now starts raining more heavily, and it's time to leave Spearfish Canyon here and go eat at the Latch String restaurant. After eating lunch, we head north on Spearfish Canyon to Spearfish, the city. And along the way we see some beautiful sights. We're going to be stopping for a few minutes at the Homestake Mine generating plant that was put here to give them electricity to run the big mine in 1970. Going on down a little bit further, we're going to find a bridge that we can park on and look at the creek from above it. Now heading on down the canyon, we come to a parking place, and here we can park and go out and look at Bridal Veil Falls as it falls from the cliffs above. And now it's time to head on down the canyon. Soon we'll be at Spearfish. Spearfish is a fairly large town with a lot of amenities, but we've already eaten, so we just drive through and look at it a little bit and head on down the road. Soon we're crossing into Wyoming. We're headed to Devil's Tower National Monument, and there you can see it in the far distance. As we drive on, we get a little bit closer look at Devil's Tower. Then just before we get into the park, we run into a cattle jam. Some cattle crossing the road. And now we're about to enter the park. Up there's the Devil's Tower. We're going to actually drive around it on this road and see it from many different sides. We're going to come in from the right at the entrance center, drive the red road all the way over to the visitor center, and then back out the entrance. It's the only way to go. Here we're looking at Devil's Tower from the east. It's shaped differently from each direction that you look at it. The area around Devil's Tower is a national monument and is mainly wooded area. Soon we're pulling into the visitor center and finding a place to park to spend a little bit of time in this area. These aerial pictures are from a video I bought. As you can see, it's flat on the top. And here we're looking at Devil's Tower from the west and get some good close-ups of the tower. The striations are actually octagonal cylinders of lava that have cooled rapidly. There is a trail around the base, but it's raining so hard we decide not to go. There are several theories about how this was formed. First, the volcanic plug theory. Then there's the lithosith theory. And then there's the stock or forming under the ground. Or maybe the Kiowa legend that a bear digging its claws in trying to attack people made the striations. Here it is from various sides. But maybe one of the most famous things that happened here is when the spaceship landed here in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Unfortunately, it has gone back into orbit again. And now it's time to take the road up the Joyner Ridge Trail. It's located at the top of this map, and we'll get a good view from here of Devil's Tower from the north. And here's a view from the north.
It's really pretty.
Then we head back on the main road and head on out towards the exit, looking at the tower from many different sides. You can see the concave area here. Along the way we see some white-tailed deer sitting down and feeding near some of the buildings. We also see some wild turkeys feeding along the roadside. Don't seem to care that a traffic is going back and forth. Next, to stop at a black-tailed prairie dog town and observing them some. As you can see from this map, the prairie dogs range over the entire Central Plains, and this is what their nesting chambers look like. And now it's time to head on down the road, going back to Rapid City for the night. Along the way, it's not raining very hard, and soon we're re-entering South Dakota. We'll be there for the rest of our trip. Skies continue to get more cloudy as we head eastward, and by the time we arrive at Rapid City, it's starting to rain again. And we get into our hotel, and this brings us to the end of day 26.